Hey everybody, welcome to the first episode on my new channel, AutoNauts. Now you might ask yourself, what is AutoNauts? Well, AutoNauts is a channel that I've created dedicated to everything automotive. And today we're taking a drive into Oregon's Lorain Valley on a nice sunny day, which is rare here in Oregon, to take a closer look at a 1971 Mercedes-Benz 280SE 3.5 Cabriolet. A very special car, a very rare car, and we really hope you enjoy it. Now I'm here driving an Audi RS5, and I'm really looking forward to giving you guys a review on this car at a later point. But for now, it's all about the Mercedes. Of course, there will be other car reviews coming up later. I have a long list of vehicles that I plan to make videos of for you guys. So really hope you enjoy it, and yeah, sit back and enjoy the show. So here it is, folks, the 1971 Mercedes-Benz 280SE 3.5 Cabriolet. Now, like I said before, this is a very special car. This particular model with this 3.5 liter V8 was produced from 1969 to 1971, and there are surprisingly few models left in the wild. This one was recently restored from a pretty poor state, and it is now back to original functionality and original quality in terms of the body panels. A lot of them had been repaired with Bondo, and while it looked normal, it was not structurally sound. So we found the last few of the bumpers for this car in the world and had them shipped here to Oregon to have them put on this car. We had a lot of restoration work done on this car here in Eugene, Oregon at Vintage Underground with Joe Potter and his team over there. And you can actually see videos of this car's restoration on my other channel, King P&W. You'll find the links here. And they just did a stellar job with it, you know. The car's driving again better than it ever has. A few years back, whoever had the car before us did an engine service, and it seems like they rebuilt part of the engine. They used top-notch components, but they didn't know what they were doing. So it was causing the car to run rich, and it was spewing smoke. So now it's all back to factory. We have a new ECU we shipped in from Germany. Again, one of the few remaining ECUs for this car you can find. And also take into account 1971, a car like this with an ECU, it was ahead of its time. It was a technological flagship, and especially that 3.5 liter V8 with 200 horsepower. Now, when this body style, this two-door, was introduced in 1965, the engine it came with had 95 horsepower, so quite a leap there to the 200. And that's why that 3.5 has such a good reputation. It was smooth power delivery. It was more than enough power for daily driving. But, it's not a race car, and it was never intended to be. This is more of a grand tourer, and it does that job exceptionally well. All right, so we have the keys, and we are going to take this baby for a drive. So as I said earlier, this car has about 200 horsepower from its 3.5 liter V8, which for 1971 was a considerable amount of horsepower. Though nowadays you can get that kind of power from a Scion FRS or any other number of cars, but it certainly lends itself in this vehicle to a comfortable, powerful cruising experience, which is something you expect with a Mercedes-Benz. And this car really has all those characteristics that you expect. Very solid build quality. It feels like it's going to last another 30 years, and that's not just because this car was recently restored. Even when we got it, and like I said, it was in a poor state, but the majority of the components were holding up extremely well, and that's just a testament to Mercedes' craftsmanship. So in recent years, this W111 chassis 280SE 3.5 has become somewhat of a collector's car. There aren't too many of them out there. My notes are blowing away because this is a convertible. The last production run for this car was January of 1971, and at that point they'd produced about 4,502 of these 280SE 3.5s. This is a very sought after car because of the big engine. It was the flagship motor at the time, and it still has a lot of mystique around it because of that status that it had in its original production. So the design for this two-door W111 chassis Mercedes began in 1959 as Mercedes was looking for a replacement for their existing models. Considering the fact that this car and the sedan were mechanically identical, Mercedes focused the majority of its efforts on exterior styling. And that really shows with this car. It's gorgeous, first of all, and it has those tail fins on the back, which were pretty characteristic of Mercedes at the time. So they managed to update the design, but at the same time retain some of those things that Mercedes buyers were looking for back then in terms of exterior style. Now, we're going to get a chance here in a minute to park this car, again on the W111 chassis, right next to a W212, which is a modern E-Class. Of course, it's not the 2014 redesign, the refresh. It is a pre-2014, which in my opinion is the superior looking car. I'm a big fan of those angles. I love the headlights, I love the hood, I love the body lines and those rear fenders. This newer iteration of the E-Class, the 2014 Plus, kind of removed some of that character from the car, and so it was a little disappointing for me. But both the W212 and the W111, this car, are just gorgeous in my opinion. So this really is a wonderful car to drive. It's comfortable, it's powerful enough when you need it. It oozes class, but it's not arrogant about it. There's a certain stateliness to this vehicle's demeanor. The 0 to 60 figures for this vehicle with the automatic are about 11.5 seconds or so. So by today's standards, that's fairly slow. But in 1971, that was a decently quick vehicle. I'm back in the Audi RS5 and I'm heading home. And I just wanted to mention to you guys, you know, I said that Mercedes was special quite a few times. But there's another reason it's special aside from being a rare vintage vehicle. That car is special because it belonged to my late grandfather. And to him, it was the object of his desire around the mid-80s. So he did what he could to find one with that engine. So I was really happy to be able to show it to you guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video. There will be more videos coming, more car reviews, basically anything automotive that I deem worthy of showing you, or that I think you'd find interesting. Thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned for more. This is Joe King for AutoNauts. I'll see you around.